So I am Steph Ritz. I try to deliver creativity within structure. I'm known as a world-renowned ghostwriter, graphic designer, and publisher for holistic professionals, turning what you're saying into what you meant to say. And then with some magic in translating the pivotal moments of your journey into tangible solutions for your community. So really authentically sharing who you are with the world. Um, one of my clients, when we started working together, she was talking to, maybe 200 people a year, if that. And after a couple of years of rewriting her website, I was on a radio program with her that she was doing weekly. And I was hearing something about how the lines were packed, and I've had trouble getting into some of her calls. So I asked her about it, and she said that, it's now an audience of 200,000 on this weekly call listening to the record, and plus people listening to the recording. So she just really floored and honored her. That was her goal. And there's a few, I can share other stories, but it really is about amplifying this and setting the seeds so they can grow into something much larger. Where some people talk about peeling back the layers of an onion, I really talk about it as an artichoke. So as you're writing, as you're sharing, this idea of every single petal of the artichoke has at least one bite, something to taste all the way through. Um, but then on the artichoke itself, that fuzzy stuff is actually called the choke. That's how it gets its name. So you have to choose to get past all those thorny edges, past this fuzzy choke before you can really get to the heart, the meat of the message. And so that's what we're here looking at today and throughout these book projects. That's where I come from as a writer. So Debbie Howard is another lady I've worked with. Grace mentioned Jane Ashley, Flower of Life Press, and Jane and I co-published The Caregiving Journey. And then more recently published Debbie's second book, The Caregiving Crisis. But you can, Debbie made it to #1 for her book, and she's done a TEDx Tokyo and built her websites. But, she came to me with an idea, and slowly but surely we built all of these pieces, and she's off and running and doing her thing. Tomas is another guy that I worked with, and he had a documentary but needed to build this huge marketing plan to try to, find distribution for it. And he ended up being picked up by Gravitas Ventures, which is one of the big LA companies. So as it says, according to the overview deck of Gravitas Ventures, you have the potential to reach 1 billion homes. And what Tomas says is, now Peter Diamandis, quote, "Want to become a billionaire? Help 1 billion people," makes a lot more sense, because we went on what is the altruistic aspect, even if you plan to make money from it. And he got picked up. And so 6 months after this came out, and he shared this with me, he is still top in the charts, still #5 in documentaries at this point. When it first came out, I have no clue where it is on the list, but it was wonderful to see his dreams come true. And the hope is to do the same for you. For those of you who have said yes, just to be clear, this is going to be a color book that is for purchase on Amazon, as well as a Kindle edition. There's 2 books that are open to my community and others. And then there are 2 books that are exclusive to some of my community. So Jen, who's on the call, brought together a group to do the book, The Seed of Intuition. And Oshunike, who I'll go meet her community next week, is doing The Seed of Ancient Wisdom. So this is really about having that, feeling that deep calling to have a lasting impact on the world. The idea is that this lives beyond you, and that these words, these images, the messages that you're sharing are really going to change someone's life. And so please bring your wisdom, bring your knowledge, share with an open mind, and inspire the future. What's included is an 11-page spread. So whether that's words or art or photos, it's your 11 pages to decide what you want to do with it. It translates to, in the 6x9 layout, it will translate to about 3,000 words. It might be a bit more, it might be a bit less, but that gives you that safe range to make sure that your writing fits into that 11-page of the 6x9 book. The content is yours. I don't want it. It's yours. It's your intellectual property. It's yours to keep as well. so once the books come out, and I had mentioned it to, it was one of the questions that I received was, I would ask that you would wait a month before you reuse that content or republish it as your own or whatever you're doing with it. And that's more of just to give us a minute to market the books and to hopefully get all 4 books as #1 bestsellers on Amazon together, and to just make that focus a group focus. After that, do whatever you want with your content, whether or not that's with the book or a PDF download, or you read it, or whatever you decide to do with it. But it's yours to do. This comes with a writing class, 5 months. It used to be a 3-month program. I've added 2 additional months to this, really focused on the book. And it comes with some private sessions with me for ghostwriting and for editing and for making your bio summary. And then depending on what level you're coming in at, it might also include setting up your Amazon author page or linking your book to your already established Amazon author page. Question so far? Are we good moving forward? This all sounds familiar, yes? Okay, good. So 6x9, color, Kindle, prices are here, American dollars. So there's some that haven't paid at this point, but I'm absolutely reserving your space, and some that have already taken care of it. Just a reminder. And then we have group Zooms, right? So we have this 5 months of support in the group setting. And because of time zones and because of other conflicts, I am offering 2 different times, just as I am for this little discussion that we're having today. So if you want to be in the Friday group and come Fridays, fantastic. If you want to be in the Saturday group and come Saturdays, fantastic. But I'm going to set it up prior to start. And so you decide, think of it like a college. It's not like you get to choose which one you want to go to which week. You're either in the Friday night class or you're in the Saturday morning class. And then just let me know what's going to work out best for you. And I get that we'll do whatever we can to try to work with time zones, and the same with the one-on-ones. I'll try to be flexible and open up some times that'll work for around the world. And then there is a whole Zoom schedule. So this is something that was in the email, and I'll make sure everyone gets it, but it's really just the topic of the week. So I've been teaching everything December, the three, number 2, 3, and 4 of the 4 different banners. I have been teaching for maybe 5 years now, the exact same content at the exact same time. The November stuff is an expanded version of the December offer. And so this just tells you exactly what to expect. Please come to all of them. And I totally get that life is life, and it might not make sense to come to all of them. As we progress later into the class, it gets a little more on the marketing and website writing side of things, but it starts very much focused on the book. And then as your drafts and editing process, then we start looking at all of these. So before your bio is due, we're going to go over writing that about the author bio. And before your book summary is due, we're going to go over these. I have templates that teach this stuff. And then that template is to get you a good start, and then for you to customize it into whatever you want, whether that's for the art, the visual side of your artistry, or the verbal side. Both of those, I'm going to need a bio and a book your submission summary. So we'll start in the very beginning, the first, partly because of American holidays. We're meeting the first 3 weeks of November, the first 3 weeks of December, and then once the New Year happens, it'll be 10 straight weeks of meetings, if you're wondering how that looks on a calendar. And of course, you will have all of this in email and in a couple of different formats, as well as then I'll have you a calendar invite. So you guys will have that, pop-up reminder, you have a Zoom in 30 minutes, which is why I don't want you getting them for both classes. Okay, whoops. Okay, so these are going to be the deadlines, and you don't have to mark your calendar this minute, but the idea is that we're moving through this very thoughtfully. So knowing that there's all these holidays and we're only meeting 3 weeks here and 3 weeks there to do an hour of ghostwriting, which is really just how do you take an idea and open it up into whatever you're going to create and get on the same page and and open, make sure that you're ready to create whatever it is that you're looking to bring into this book project. And so everyone has a one-on-one 1 hour session with me, and there'll be this 2 month window, November 6th to 21st, where we'll be able to book that first session. And then your rough drafts being due is a flexible date, because it depends, like, I can't meet with you about editing your piece until you have submitted your piece. So when we schedule these, I'm going to need your rough draft a week before your meeting, right? So I have a minute to review it, to think about it, and gather some notes, whether art or writing. So that's where it's a flexible date, because it depends on when you schedule it. But, there's going to be only so many meetings that I can do in a day. So if you're ready ahead of time, awesome. And if, as we slide to the end, I don't want it to get too tight. So managing your own expectations and times for when these meetings are. And then as you're getting into your final revisions, then I'm looking to create that bio and summary, to get those. And we'll have while we go over both of these topics in the group class, we'll also have a one-on-one session dedicated to just getting those pieces written, really, so I know how to talk about you in what you're creating and contributing to this book project. So how is it easy for me to communicate who this person is and what their piece is about? Final drafts are going to be due for spring equinox. So March 20th, that is the goal. Please get it to me by then. That would be what you would look at as completely line edited, or art is exactly what it wants with each note that whatever notes I need of how to lay it out for you. If it's poetry or something, hopefully we've talked about everything and it's ready to roll. And then between March and May, I am going to do the whole book layout, and then each of you will get a PDF of your section to make sure that there's no final changes. Or like, hey, Steph, you accidentally cut off half my picture. What's going on? Can you fix this for me? Right? Like, let's get that figured out before we go to print. And then May 20th, the layout approval is due. So then I can start the actual hard copy proof, and which is a long wait just based on Amazon and how long it can take to get that proof. Sometimes it happens in a week or two. Sometimes it takes a month. There's really no control on when Amazon is going to mail out the copy to you and where it's coming from. They have distribution centers all over. And then the goal is to have a summer solstice launch together on June 21st. I put it as tentative. We will know much more as we get closer to the date, but that is the goal going into this. And that means that on solstice, we'll be able to share these books and they'll be live, and it'll be very, very, very exciting. And then for those that are coming in as an Amazon author versus an Amazon author, or just with your name in the table of contents, claiming the book happens after the book is published. So if you already have an Amazon author page, you will be able to claim that the same day, whether if you know how to get in there. Otherwise, we just need to schedule a session. And it's a quick session. If you don't have one, it's the same pieces. I'm going to need a headshot and your bio and your summary, or the book summary for the whole piece, to build that author page. So it's a very short piece and easy to put together because you'll already have created the pieces for me. It's just a matter of logging in and dropping them where you need them. There was a man that I met doing a class in LA. He was at the time he was the youngest elder of Mexico, and he was a shamanic sound healer. And he and I hit it off right away, and we're pretty close. But during this business workshop, as we're like playing with how to brand ourselves and how to share that, and he stopped the event at one point and said that he's speaking to me and sharing with the room that I am to go help them to go heal the healers, that the people who really need the healing can't hear their call right now, and gave it to me as this mission. And And about a month later, was tragically killed. He was leading a shamanic journey to the Egypt's pyramids, and they mistook him and shot him from the sky. Full apology between the nations. It was a pretty tragic event, but and this idea started then, and it started to grow. It actually, at the time, it turned into just a little sticker, right? Like with the, the dandelion and that same background. And so when it came to doing this collaboration book and offering it, I had tucked it in my mind a long time ago that I wanted to title it in honor of him. And he has an album of his shamanic sound healings, and one of the songs is called "The Seed of Pure Potential." So I started in the book realm 2008, and I started with this coffee table book. So my stepdad is an internationally acclaimed artist. He's still known for his underwater art the most. Just right, beautiful fish art. So before there was color, before there was underwater cameras, he was the scuba diver underneath the water painting what you saw in the light that you saw it. And so like National Geographic, Scientific America, all these places sent him scuba diving around the world. And then the whole time that I knew him, which was only about 6 years, he was writing this autobiography. And when he passed, my mom said, was working on trying to get it published as well. And she had done some editing, like they would sit at the dinner table and read it aloud. He'd read it to her, and she would be marking the things that didn't match what was coming out of his mouth or didn't make sense and to her as a listener. And my mom and my stepdad ended up passing away 2 years apart from one another. And so I took on this project at the same time. We had been building this e-commerce website. And so I photographed all of his work and created the catalog raisonné. With the publisher, we created a biography to explain everything. Like I could read his autobiography and I'd laugh through it because I was hearing stories that he had told me that weren't included. He had written it as this very dry art historian. And so we told all the stories below the stories and made it come to life. And then I ended up selling the entire art business to the publisher who had published that book, and instead took on another book project and another and another and another. And then I got to a point where I'd been doing these writing retreats online, and I realized that it would be cheaper to publish my retreat workbook through Amazon than it would be to go print it at Kinko's or any other print shop in town. I mean, by a lot, like the difference of $15 versus $100 to get this thing published. And so that's where Books That Sell You came from. And we're actually going to be, this is available on Amazon. I can pull it up in a little bit, but it's amazon.com/author/Steph Ritz, and you'll find me. But this book will be covering almost everything that's in this book will be covering over the next 5 months. So it's all not only, and you'll get like examples of, the different worksheets for you to fill out, and I'll be mailing these to you, emailing them to you. But then the book includes a lot more where it's all sorts of examples of the templates in action and how people actually implemented them. So when it comes to the bio writing, there's like pages of examples that you can read through and be like, oh, I like what that says. Oh, I like that one, and plug and play and start to get an idea of shaping what yours is going to look like. And so I did things, fun things where each chapter starts with a color splash and, like a little starburst around. But I did the entire layout and all of the graphics for this inside of Word way back when. And I have learned a lot since then and built quite a few more books. So there's like a whole handful here that I can start to share some examples of what we're doing with the insides and how to play with color. But it's been a very, I think this first one was maybe 2017. Let's see what the legal paid. 2017 is when I first stepped really into the publishing realm, and it's been something that I've been very passionate about. Like, please don't take what you are so passionate about in this world. Please don't take it to the grave. And it sounds very morbid when you say it that way, but it's true. And I've seen it before over and over again. I've also, while I had done a little bit of publishing for myself or helping some of my clients, like co-publishing, I hadn't really wanted to step into it until I guess it was only last year. So last year, January, I went to my optometrist and they're like, oh, we found a freckle in your eye. Either it's just a freckle or you have 6 months left to live.
Oh,
We don't know
God.
yet. We've got to run some tests, right? Turned out to be just a freckle, at least so far. Wonderful. Let's keep it that way, right? Healthy as a horse. It's just a freckle. But it led to the like, well, if I have 6 months, then what am I going to do? And I reached out to all these authors that I had been coaching to write their books over the years and write their platforms, and was like, yo, you want to get together in a group and like finish and publish your books? Let's figure this out. And for me, I was looking for a solution that was a complete hybrid of, I wasn't satisfied with traditional publishing. I wasn't really satisfied with self-publishing, and trying to find something in between. So like for Julia, who's doing her individual book, well, Ritz Books is, I'm doing the cover layout and the interior design, some graphic work with her. The book will be on her Amazon account. So it's not up to me to get her author copies or to get her distribution checks or to get, it's her book and her control to, upload a new cover or upload new content whenever she wants. Because to me, that's only fair. Right. And you can always pass that along to someone else as well. So one of my clients, Oshunike, she now manages her husband's Amazon account and his book royalties as part of, when you are married, and that inheritance of intellectual property. And so it was really important that those not be on my account. For the Seed series, in order to publish as a series, it has to be on one KDP account. So that will go under mine, and then you will all be linked as authors in that way. And I'm not pricing, I can't tell you what they're going to cost. I have no clue. It really depends on exactly how many people join, how many pages are part of this. My aim is to keep all of the books at a max about 150 pages. And that's more of just to keep, because they're color books, I want them to be affordable. And when I've been playing with pricing, there's standard color and there's premium color, and trying to figure out what's going to work. And I think we're going to end up doing premium color. I got, let's see, let me show you some examples. So this is one of my second workbooks. It's Stories That Changed the World. This is what we'll be doing just one or two things out of this as part of the group. But this is what we go through when you're writing your own book, and all the different steps and ways to get into your writing. This is full color as well. So you can see that like same gold frame that you've seen on some of those graphics, and the full color on the inside.
Looks like it's good, nice quality paper too.
Yeah, it's nice thick
Maybe a
white
little-
paper.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find another. This is very heavy on the workbook side of things versus the actual graphics. But little fun things. So even though it's just fill out to know what you, when you're, setting it up, what do you already know? What do you want to know? And what do you expect people to have learned by the time that you've taught it to them? And so, little fun ways. So this is, the graphics are very clear in this book. Like when you see the dandelion, you can see the stems, the seeds, the pieces of it. When I did the standard color book. This is Inner Sparks of Possibility. Sorry, I'm reading backwards. And this was the first one that I did as a standard color. But she's not the artist. It's her workbook, kind of like my workbook. The art just carries what we're teaching. And so the standard color, everything is still very clear, and everything was done in this book as watercolors. So they're a little bit looser, but they come out very crisp. But I can see that this green isn't quite as sharp as what it would be in that other book. It's just a hair loose. So that's something that we can discuss as a group. I marketed this as standard color. And knowing that there's at least one, if not multiple artists in all 4 books, it's something that we're discussing. And it's not that big of a price difference for the publishing, but it is good to know. And it is one of those reasons that I'd rather have 4 books with a handful of authors than 1 or 2 books that are just packed full. Is really trying to make this an affordable project for everyone, right? Like the pictures are there and they're crisp, but they're not quite as solid as,
Not as vibrant.
Yes, there you go. That's a great word.
Given that you mentioned affordability, I just have a question about our investment, because I
Mhm.
was just looking at it, and you're on the PDF about paying by October 15. You've got
Yeah.
half price, pay in full by October 15.
Mhm.
The fee you've quoted, is that the half price fee, or is it half of what that fee is?
It's half of what you see there. So if it's 2,200, then it would be 1,100 at that half price rate, and then 550 American if
Okay,
in just the table of contents. So that is the full price rate that you then get to um,
cool.
take off
So for the
half.
Aussies in the room, the 2,200 equates to around about 33.50
Yeah.
Yeah.
at today's rate, given where the dollar is, and as it
Mhm.
keeps plunging, I'm absolutely going to pay the half price fee ASAP.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dollar's still at
Yes.
a reasonable level.
Yes.
Thank you. That clears
Where
that
is
up.
the payment? Whereabouts is the payment link? That's one of the
Yeah,
things I was going to ask.
Yeah, how do we
I
pay
can
you?
put it in, I'll send it out in an email again. For PayPal, it's paypal.me/StephRitz, I believe. Gosh, now saying this, let me go look all this up quick. And let's share my screen with you all. All right. So let's see, paypal.com/ right? Oh, paypal.me, that's the problem. PayPal.me/StephRitz. So paypal.me. Let's change this so you can see the shorter version. PayPal.me/StephRitz is the easiest link. Otherwise, if you want to do it from inside of your PayPal, my email is stephritz@gmail.
And what if we don't use PayPal?
So I talked to Jenny trying to figure out what would be the best international version. Inside of PayPal, you can pay with credit card or whatever
Okay.
payment gateway you
So I
have
can
with
pay
them.
your PayPal account with my credit card.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, perfect.
So
That's fine.
it's just the payment gateway that
Yeah, that's
seems
fine.
like, I think it's the only one that we really figured out that it would work.
PayPal
But
have
yeah,
abandoned
inside
me,
of
so-
PayPal, you can pay with what, like you can
Okay,
link it to a bank
Good.
account, to a credit card, to whatever payment style you want from inside of
Cool.
PayPal.
okay, great.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
and then when it comes to the Amazon/author/StephRitz, so that you can set a custom domain, and then it's just a matter of figuring out what yours is once you set it up. So my author page is this /author/StephRitz. And when I go to it, you see the different books that I've either been an author in or published, and sometimes both. So there's the different books. And what we're going to be putting in is making sure we put in a headshot and putting in the about section here. And that's really all, and then claiming your book. That's about it. And so here you can see all the titles by Steph and all the different formats. And then there'll be recommended authors on the back end. So like even when I order copies of my own workbook, I then something like this like pops up in the email when I received it from Amazon. So I bought my workbook, and then the email I got said, learn more about the author. Steph Ritz is a blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, I'm learning about myself, but at least I know it's set up properly, right? So that is the idea of setting up your Amazon author page, is that not only when people buy your book, or anyone buys the book, if you've got your page set up, they'll get to see this right away. Amazon cross markets you. So feel free to reach out if more questions come up, or if you're just excited and want to share something with me. I'm here and excited to get to know
Thanks.
and really become more familiar over the next few months together.